You saw in Amit's main stage AI engineering demo the issue with the self-service portal. To give a recap, the IT infrastructure manager places a large order of server rack fans and later logs into the LeoFabs website to check the status of his order. He discovers the shipment is delayed with no further details and only a note advising him to contact the agent. Frustrated, the IT infrastructure procurement management manager sends an urgent message to the management at LeoFabs. Now, for this demo, I'm going to play a different role. I'm going to play the role of Sarah, who's an IT developer at LeoFabs. I just received an urgent note from the leadership that we need to provide a better tool for this business partner. And the current portal is very limited because it is only connected to SAP inventory and sales order data management and operates with a very static set of rules and code. And now let me show you how I can use the AI agent engineering to build a supply chain agent that will expand the capabilities of this portal. And for that, I'm going to use the new AI agent engineering service. Now, this service, as Amit announced, allows me to build, connect, and manage custom AI agents. I could build the agent from scratch, but also I prefer to use reuse. So reuse means saving time and lowering the risk. So I'm going to head over to the Agent Hub here. Now, Agent Hub is a place where I can discover, publish, and share AI agents across our company. This is also where I will find Claire data agents and I'll find agent recipes published by Informatica. Also, you will find community developed agents that I can use here. Now, Agent Hub has three repositories. It has an Agent Hub repository, it has a repository of all the tools, and also repository of the skills. Now, tools are external tools that I can use, such as unstructured and OCR libraries, LangChain, Llama Index, Python, JavaScript libraries that you can readily use to build your AI agents. And skills, which I will cover more in more detail in the demo, are existing business processes like CAI, application integration processes, or even data integration mappings or DK rules that you'll be able to reuse in your AI agents. So for this demo, I'm going to search for the supply chain um, agent, and I see this supply chain assist agent. And I see this a particular agent is certified by Informatica, which gives me extra confidence. And I can see what all tools it's using. It's connected to Salesforce, it's connected to SAP and a open weather API. I can also see the description of the agent, what it does, and this kind of fits my bill. I can see the key capabilities, I can see the use cases, and most importantly, I can also see the system prompt, and I will cover this in more detail in my demo. So let's use this. When I use this Agent Hub, it actually downloads this into my canvas. Now, Agent Canvas is where I go to build and connect the agents to enterprise data. This environment comes pre-populated based on the agent that I selected. So if you look at this, it's a very familiar canvas. It has the same palettes that you see in cloud application integration. It's a no-code interface where I can drag and drop different components to build my instead of application integration, I can build an agentic workflow and AI agents here. Now, first things first, one of the first things you'll see, most important things of building an AI agent is there are three components you need to take care. First is the reasoning component, which is typically the LLM here, which interprets the goal and breaks down the goal into different tasks. The second step is the memory component, which is typically where the LLM or the reasoning engine will retrieve the context from the memory to contextualize the process. And here in the memory, I can also add additional, I can even pass it additional context at inference time. Like if you want to connect to a knowledge base or you want to supply a customer data set or some articles or some data sets, you can do that as either as pre-ingest as part of your rack pipeline, or you can also do it at inference time as well. And the third most important part is the actions component, or the agent and tools component. And here you can specify what tools. When I say tools, it's actually it even encompasses other agents. This planning agent might call all tools, connectors that it can call, even the skills that it can call to accomplish that process, right? Now, with that said, let me first go into the models, right? Like we support all the major models from Azure OpenAI, Cloud, Anthropic, Gemini, NVIDIA, and many other models. And I'm going to use the O3 model here. And for the memory component, again, we use many vector stores, but I'm going to use for the memory component, I'm going to go and select the pinecone, right? And over here, let me select this. And I can also, define the planning prompt here. So the planning prompt, as you think about it, is the instructions that I provide to the reasoning component or the planning agent. And here, if you see the agent and tools, tell me the scope is kind of limited because this is connected to SAP and ERP and Salesforce order management system. And this is the reason you don't get much detail on the order. So I want to provide a more increase the scope of the agent. So I can edit this prompt directly. It's a text-based interface. I can also provide parameters here. So similar to global variables, I can even provide that using flower brackets, and I can do that. But in this case, I'm going to use Claire Copilot to modify this prompt. So for that, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to provide it additional context by asking it to add product supply catalog information into this. And when I do that, it does a couple of things. First is it's going to update the prompt and also provide me the recommendation agent, because in this case I've provided it. I'm asking you to connect it to product and supply 360 to provide additional context, and also the ServiceNow ticketing agent, because I want while while the agent is uh, getting the product and supply details, it also is checking whether there are any issues with those product alternatives against ServiceNow, right? So when I accept this, you will see that the prompt is updated, and also this agent is now connected to the planning agent, right? Parallelly, what's happening also is the Copilot is intelligent enough because it has information about the metadata of your org, right? It's across your IDMC. So the Claire will suggest things like, it seems like when you do this, you also need to place an order. So you want to do an order to cash processing and invoice processing. And for that, because these are existing CAI processes, you can add that. And it also updates the prompt and adds this into the tool component. Now, what's interesting here is what it's doing is actually call it at this point when it will invoke this order to cash and invoice processing. It's calling a CAI process by the same name. So, and that's very powerful skill. And if you can add more skills, and way to do that is by clicking on the browse here. And when you do that, again, you will be able to browse and add other agents, tools, and skills. So I'm going to go to the skills, and here you can see application integration, data integration mappings, DQ rules, all these different assets that you can add into your agent. Now, this is very important concept because all this years of investment that you've done in IDMC now can be leveraged by your AI agents. And why so is because, as you know, AI agents or LLMs typically are known to hallucinate, right? And to reduce hallucination, especially for data that is not was not available for the LLM, especially if it's an enterprise data which is behind your firewall, it's specific to your business process. The LLMs are not trained on that. So by giving this context about application integration, what you're doing is you're actually making the LLM more intelligent, more grounded on your enterprise context. So imagine the case like if the reasoning engine, the LLM, had to create an order to cash process from scratch for every enterprise, every org, the order to cash process is very different. You might be connecting to different sources and applications or databases. Your objects will have different semantics. The object names will differ. So it's going to LLMs on their own cannot solve that. It's going to hallucinate. It's not going to create a good order to cache process. And if you want to do that, you have to probably retrain all the LLM on your enterprise data, which will take a lot of GPU compute, a lot of training data, a lot of man hours, and AI engineering resources. Now, all that is solved with by just adding the skills using the skill component like CAI process or a CDI mapping or a DQ directly into your agent, AI agent. So the agent knows when it encounters it has to do a place an order. It doesn't try to understand how to place an order. It actually understand, okay, there is a business process that I can use to do order to cash. So I'm going to call that. So that's a very, very important differentiator. Imagine if you were to do this in LangChain, LaMinx, or any open source library, you will never be able to get the accuracy that you will have because none of those models will have the enterprise context that you have in your system, right? So it brings in all the years, many years of investment you've done on IDMC directly to the agent and make it more grounded in your context and intelligent and accurate. Now, so I've done this. The next step is to run it, do a test. And what, uh, as part of AI agent engineering, you saw initially Agent Hub, right? You also saw the agent canvas. The third big component is the test console. And very often AI agents are kind of get consumed in a chatbot. So what this provides is it gives you an integrated chatbot to test and debug your workflow. So that way I don't have to make my own chatbot to to test this. So this test console comes integrated with a chatbot interface. So, and here you can see the different triggers I have. I can trigger it from a Slack channel or a chat bot, for instance, or you can add additional triggers like a schedule-based trigger or an event-based trigger or API trigger. All this is possible. For this particular demo, I'm going to use a chatbot experience. So I want to check the status of the order. I'm going to ask, and you will see as you are running, as this particular flow is running, you will be able to see what all it called. Like it called the planning agent first, then called the SAP agent and the delivery agent, and gave you a response. And in this case, it tells me that it looked at the order and says the order status is delayed, and it even calls the weather API to understand, okay, in this case there was a typhoon, so that's why that is the likely reason for the delay, right? And I'm going to ask it to recommend alternatives. And I hit go here. And again, you remember AI agents are typically stateless, especially if it's chatbot. So it's going to invoke again from the beginning, the planning agent. It calls the based on what you suggested. In this case, it's asked for recommended alternatives. So it's going to first understand what order it is, what part it is, and then check for product 360 to look at any alternatives and also look at ServiceNow to see if there are any issues with the product. And it has actually found two products which match the same server rack fan criteria and finds that TS95 is the better one because the other one has some tickets which point to some lower operating temperature requirement, right? So this is great, right? So now once I've tested it, I want to deploy it. So I'm going to deploy this. And when you deploy it, I'm presented with multiple options. I can, of course, deploy it as a REST endpoint. So I can call it in my own chatbot or external app or other applications and manage this API also in my API center as API gateway and also as a MCP. Now, MCP is a model context protocol that enables AI agents and LLM apps to interface seamlessly with any tool or external data source. Now, by exposing this agent as an MCP server, I'll be able to easily integrate it with existing MCP client. And the MCP clients could be a Slack chatbot or a Teams channel or your own internal chatbot or other systems, right? So this is very powerful. And what it does is it automatically describes what this MCP does. It recommends what authentication policies you want to use. Of course, you should be very careful, especially when you're exposing MCP server to make sure that it's protected because otherwise your enterprise data could leak out of the system. And we provide those out of the box capabilities like advanced OR2 as well as JOT token. You can also apply operational policies, IP limiting for IP filtering policies, security policies, so that only the authorized person can access it. And when you configure MCP, you also have to specify actions, like what actions, like I can in this particular scenario, what the AI agent can do. In this case, the AI agent can expose, uh, search for alternative vendor or place an order, right? And you can define you at a granular level for each MCP server what actions it can surface, right? So with that, I'm ready to deploy this. And when I deploy this, I can see all my MCP servers and agents that I've deployed inside the agent management pane. Again, it's all part of our AI agent engineering, where here I can see all the different MCP servers that are active, and I can turn it on and off with a simple button. And here I can see all the different the supply chain AI agent that I just published. I can see the policies that I applied on this, and also the actions that I enabled, right? So this shows you all the end-to-end demo that we had with AI agent engineering, and you saw how easy it was to build the AI agent using a no-code interface, to connect the AI agent to your enterprise data and ground it with your existing business processes. And lastly, you can manage it, uh, publish it using APIs as well as MCP, and govern it in one central place, and all using no-code tooling. And that's pretty much my demo. And I'm going to show you, if you are interested, you can sign up using our this QR code and get early access to our preview.